August 26, 2013. The time is approximately 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by sending notices on December 21st, 2012 to the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News by positioning notice of the meeting on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall and by filing a notice with our municipal clerk. I'd like to remind members of the public that we have 3 exits in council chambers, 2 to the front and 1 to the rear. We are on the record. Everything that is said or seen is being recorded both by audio and by video. So if during any public portion of the meeting you wish to be heard or seen, please simply give us your name, your address, and then you could ask any question or make any comment regarding any interest, regarding any issues affecting your interest. Can I have everybody stand please for a moment of silent prayer or reflection. And if Councilman Coppola would lead us in a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Judy, can I have a roll call, please? Present. Here. 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 Present. Okay. We have one topic on the Borough Administrator's agenda, which is a license agreement for 117 Tenney Avenue regarding a tree removal and pruning. Alan?
Mayor, these are the residents adjacent to the municipal parking lot across the street on Tenney Avenue. They've made a request to utilize the parking lot for a tree service to take down a tree on their property. We are asking the council to consider our usual procedure of $1,000 deposit, a certificate of insurance, a license agreement, and it has been reviewed by John Lynch, who has made the recommendation that it should be done after hours or on a holiday or a weekend to avoid any conflict with the use of the lot, and of course to take pictures before and after, to be able to assess any potential damage. So I'm just looking for authority. If the mayor and council agrees to this, we would move it to a resolution on the September meeting. In the meantime, we would reach out to the residents and explain that this is our customary and usual procedure with these matters, and if they're willing to comply, then we can accommodate them.
Do we need a motion on?
Yes, yeah, I'd like to
So moved.
move this.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, we'll put it on for a formal resolution, Alan.
Thank you.
Next, for discussion, we have a lease agreement with the Temple for SCORE. I don't have any further information on that at this time. I think we're waiting. The ball's in SCORE in the Temple's court. They haven't gotten back to us. Unless you have further information, Alan.
No, I would just remind the council we try and get this accomplished typically during the fall. The agreement is up December 31st, plus it's a number that we do need for the budget for 2014. So I appreciate any additional, outreach to the Temple to try and finalize this on a timely basis.
Alan, what was it last year, if I may ask?
18 for the last 2 years.
We lowered it. Yeah, it had been 22.
Okay, next item is employee health benefits. When I was a member of the council, there was a subcommittee to look into whether or not we could go out to the private market for a quote in order to save taxpayer money and possibly move from the state health benefits plan. It would be in accordance with all of the existing labor agreements that we give equivalent insurance We did spend, I think it was $3,000 to acquire our loss run information from the State Health Benefits Plan. Unfortunately, the information that we received was from 2009 to 2011, and now it's considered stale. We don't have the 2012 data. The consultant that I consulted, the Nelson Patterson Agency, and Mr. Miller, sent us a letter that should have been in your may have been in your correspondence, indicating that they've asked 7 private insurers if they would like to quote our business, and everybody refused because they didn't have the 2012 loss run data. So they are recommending that we acquire the 2012 loss run data. Again, there would be a cost associated with that because the State Health Benefit Plan charges you money to give you your own information back. So I would like to, do our due diligence and see if there's anybody out in the market who would be willing to write the health insurance coverage for our borough employees. Right now, our premium stands at, I think it's about $1 million a year. And maybe we could do a little better. But we need, I think the price was $2,000 for the most recent data. So I'm looking for approval to acquire our data so that we can continue with the process.
Where are we getting the money from?
Mayor, we don't have it in any of the administrative lines, the administrator's budget or mayor and council's line. This wasn't planned, but I do have funds available out of the line that we would pay the premiums. So I have the $2,000 there if the council wants to buy the claims experience. We could do it this year out of that particular line.
All right. Any discussion?
I was going to say, is there any other possible foreseen documents that the state's going to want? So there's not, if they want this money, there's not going to be another form that we have to pay for or something else that could possibly pop up? No,
they'll give us our 2012 claims experience, and we have to get that right over to our consultant, and then hopefully they can go out before 2013 is up and ask for a competitive quote, competitive bid. But if we're going to be in the same situation in 2014, because then they're going to be asking for 2013 loss experience. That's going to cost us more money. So there's still time, I think, to get it done before the end of the year.
I'd make the motion then to allocate $2,000 from the healthcare premium line to get our 2012 history.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? All right, thank you. Work session consent agenda. 2 items on the agenda. Would anybody like to pull out for... I have a question regarding number 2. Maybe Alan can just explain it. It's waiving a portion of the outside duty fee. Is that like the administrative portion?
Yes, that it would be the administrative side of it, and if you want to call it the administrative side, but the overtime to the officer, that would be paid. So there's a portion related to administrative handling, the police car usage, and upkeep, things like that. That's what you would be waiving, but we would still have the hourly rate for the police officer.
Okay.
We waived it last year.
Yes, that was actually my question. I have 2
Yes.
questions. Have we historically done this, and do we do it for all the religious groups?
The only one
The only one that
has made a
passed.
request is St. Peter's, and we did a resolution last year.
Okay.
October 2012.
But we've not denied any other group this privilege.
No, we have made
Yes, we have.
exceptions from
We
time
have?
to time.
I think when, oh no, that was on a permit fee.
That's a
Yeah,
permit
permit fee.
Yes,
Never
not on-
done.
wait, no, I think the police we have, because even for residents, if they've raised the issue, we've waived it.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Thank you for answering my question. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. Liaison reports. This evening, Councilwoman Murphy is on vacation. Councilman Aquafreda.
I have no reports.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Coppola.
Yes, I was at SCORE this past week. Our senior citizens are working on their Halloween chorus show, singing show tunes to popular songs of yesteryear. And we're working also on our mailers to recruit new members to SCORE. And I did not meet with the Historic Commission, but they just wanted me to ask a question, I guess, about the master plan, the component to the master plan, and where were we? They said they had mailed a letter or reached out to Mr. Sarlo. I don't know. And they asked me
I can
to...
answer that. We directed that to Mr. Neese, who I think is still undergoing his review.
Okay,
Okay, and that's it for me.
thank you. Councilman Mignone. Police Department.
Please, yes, as I think most of the mayor and the council members know, that we were invited by Mr. Sarlo down to Little Ferry to look at their new software system they have for dispatch and for records management at the police station. Councilwoman Murphy was there, along with the chief and myself. We had a very comprehensive day, almost half a day of interaction with the vendor. We met with their IT sergeants, I guess, or detectives who were implementing the program. We saw some live usage of the dispatch service, and I think I could speak for Councilman Murphy and the chief. I think we were all very impressed with the way the system operated. I know the chief had some additional questions and some additional information he was requesting from the vendor, and it's something that we're going to start looking at a little more carefully to see if that's something that we want to do. As a brief overview, we use what the system's called now. It's called the Cody system, and apparently all the major law enforcement agencies are going away from that, including the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. And the system that Little Ferry has is the same system that the Prosecutor's Office now has, and I believe all 21, I think he said all 21 Prosecutor's Offices have taken it over. And so I said it's something we're going to be looking into, and we'll keep you updated if more information becomes available.
What's the name of the new system?
I don't remember.
The vendor, CSI Technologies. Yeah, I don't know the specific name of the actual, if there is.
It doesn't, like most these kind of software programs, there's different modules you can get. There's records management. The chief had some questions whether we'd be able to integrate our evidence collection process and protocols into it. I said there's a dispatch module, so it's a very comprehensive system, and there may be some utility for us, particularly if this Cody system is really going out of favor like it seems to be. And I know there's been a lot of issues. One of the big issues the chief had concerns about was, I guess the last time we had gone from the previous system to the Cody system, there was a lot of man-hours and money spent trying to get the old data to be compatible with the new data. So he's very concerned that whatever system we go to, that they're able to import the old Cody data into the new system. And they seem to think, the vendors that is, seem to think that that's something they can do. It'd be one of those kind of things that we'd pay on a time and materials basis for them to convert it, but I think there's been enough other departments and other agencies which have done this now, converted from the Cody to this another system, that it should be hopefully rather straightforward. Planning board, I did not attend the July meeting, although I know that the board denied an application by Yeshiva for an 8,000 square foot expansion. And the green team has not met over the summer. The next meeting will be on September 17th.
Thank you. Councilman Bartoloni.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's start out. River Edge Day is October 6th from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. Special Events Committee will be meeting, I believe, on the 17th, and we'll be going over finalizing the events for that day. I have handouts for everyone in terms of the information, and if there's any groups that you know of that want to participate, the sign-up sheet is at the bottom for that. And remind all the groups that there's a free raffle item that you can give away as well with your booth. That's the main thing in terms of recreation. They did not meet over the summer, neither did special events, but this week there's a sports squirts program for little kids in the park. If they want to sign up, it's through US Sports. You can go on the website for that. And similarly, the week after, because school starts late this year on the 9th, there's another program that week as well. And that's about it.
Thank you. Councilman Papaleo.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing new to report at this time for the fire department or fire prevention. Continue to function and do their job well. The River Edge Alliance Against Drug and Alcohol, sometimes called READ, is sponsoring a yoga class for seniors and others at the River Edge Library on the 28th, and that is moving forward and will occur. And that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Oh, Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, one other thing Bobby asked me, just to remind everybody, but I'm sure everybody got the email, that the lightning detection system is up and operating as of, I guess, today for the River Edge parks. So,
Great.
yeah.
Okay, I can report on the Mayor's Wellness Program. We're having we're getting ready for two sections of it. One is we're taking registrations for a Biggest Loser contest, and we already have 15 people signed up, and I'm not going to crack a joke, so.
Too easy.
Too easy. And the other one is that, I think beginning September 27th, on Friday evening from 7 to 9, we have use of the Newbridge Center at the Cherry Hill School for a exercise program that will be run by a borough resident, a certified trainer, Eileen Tessalone. Everybody should come and sign up for that because it's going to be a lot of fun and we're going to burn some calories. So, let's see, what else is happening? The lightning detection system was already reported on. This Saturday we had a great wine festival over at Newbridge Landing, and we had a perfect day for it, and I'm sure that our guests that are in the audience will hopefully mention during the public portion what general feedback they got. I was there most of the day. I got some great feedback. I ran a amateur winemaking contest. We had 62 entries into the contest. I gave out about 38 medals. A portion of the contest, it was $10 to put a wine in. A portion of the money that was collected, but basically everything that didn't go for buying the medals is going to go to the Historic Newbridge Landing Commission towards their towards building their visitor center and museum that I hope to one day see. Those are my reports for now. We have a report today from Mr. Police is here along with our superintendent of the DPW, John Lynch, to speak on the library roof. Want to come up, gentlemen?
Just a rough overview. In 2010, the
council appropriated money for replacement of roof, library. Peter Police Architects, Williams were hired to provide a plan and so forth to replace that roof. We've met numerous times on the roof, off the roof, and so forth. In 2012, $25,000 was appropriated for the HVAC system for the library. And as we started to discuss time and time again, it seemed like all these issues were interchangeable. The ductwork, the roof, how to move the ductwork, and so forth. So Peter and I met. He came up with a comprehensive plan of a large overview of what should be done with my suggestions, not just the roof in general. So I'll turn over to Peter and he'll explain the following.
Okay, on August 14th, John, Lynch, Rick, Stephen, and myself went up on the roof because there was some discussion, previous discussion about a piece of ductwork that extends about 25 feet along the parallel to the clear-story roof. And it was always a sticking point with the manufacturer and the roofing contractors that is a source of water infiltration, just a bad place to locate ductwork. John Lynch did derive that ductwork is connected to 2 ground units that are scheduled to be replaced. That ductwork emanates from a crawl space, a mechanical crawl space down in the basement, and feeds up in a shaftway. And then along the clear story, there is, it feeds the clear story. It cools and heats that elevated clear story unit up on the roof. I would really like that piece of ductwork to be relocated. It's not so simple because it comes in, where it comes in, there's no other place to run it. We were discussing on the site the possibility of disconnecting it and coming up with another route for that ductwork to be taken. Or maybe use some different kind of equipment. That was issue number 1. Issue number 2 came up that there is a rooftop unit. I have it on my drawing as RTU4. That unit is also in failure and is scheduled to be replaced. That has a very short curb on it. So that's another thing that has been appropriated under a different budget. And another point was the clear story windows themselves. Rick Stephen did point out that he had issues with the maintenance of those windows. And upon further investigation and removing some of the aluminum sheet metal, we found that those windows were the original windows, wood, that were clad over with aluminum. And they're really in poor shape. The aluminum kind of masked their condition. And they've been, through the years, just been handled with caulking joints. And what it boils down to is that the windows themselves are single glazed, and there is a storm panel on the inside. So thermally, they're not state-of-the-art glazing. They are problematic, that they are leaky, both with wind and cold, leaky with water infiltration issues. The outside glass is not tempered. Birds keep on flying into this glass and breaking the glass. So upon review of that situation, it's my recommendation that those windows be replaced. Now we come back to the roof because we're getting ready to wrap up this project, go out to bid, and we kind of put this on a halt, only because these issues that were previously described by me really need to be done first. It's almost putting the cart before the horse. So my recommendation would be to address these issues, the clear story, window replacement, replacing the mechanical equipment, getting that ductwork off the roof, and raising that equipment curb up to a proper height in order for the roof to be effective. You wouldn't want to put a roof on a building and then have all this work done after the fact, especially near the clear story. What has to be done is that whole area has to be opened. Carpenters or window installers would have to take off all that sheet metal, remove the clear stories, see if there's any structural damage to the roof frame, and reconstruct that. And then once that was reconstructed, then the AC unit could be replaced, the ductwork could be rerouted, and then we could put our roof on. So it's a phasing to accomplish those other goals would be not advisable at this point. So we did spend quite a bit of time up there analyzing what we could do. And, you know, what it boiled down to is I'm making a recommendation maybe to hold off on the roof replacement since spring of 2014. And then either get this work in motion before and advise the mayor and council that we need to do this work before and then schedule the roof. I think that's the best directive. Again, I don't feel comfortable, or is it my best judgment to allow a roof to go on only to have demolition and other invasive work to happen after the roof is down. I think you would void warranties and just put a lot of risk in doing the roof of this cost, of this magnitude of cost. So unfortunately, it's hindsight now, but I think that it was caught in time. I think it were to be bidded and done, and to find out that this needed to be done after, it would be very foolish on everyone's part. So I feel that in a way that this is something that was meant to be, and I think we should, regroup and reassess what has to happen. In the meantime, what I did do is I did reach out to a few glazing contractors, just give the mayor and council an idea of what what this glass replacement might cost. There are 23 window units up on that clear story. I believe we could probably do with 21, only because the existing chimney, is in the area of 2 of them. I think 2 of them can be sealed up and not jeopardize any light and aesthetic qualities to the library clear story. That would save a little bit of money. The sizes of the units are basically about 2'8" by 5'1½". They're kind of a bastard size. I opened my Pella book and my Anderson book to see if we could even get some kind of commercial pre-made unit. It does not work. There's nothing in the catalog that kind of corresponds to the size. What I'm thinking about doing is doing these glass lights in aluminum storefront material, like 4-inch or 5-inch tubing, making the glass 1 inch thick with a laminated inside and a tempered glass on the outside, making them low E, which would be thermally efficient, and having a 1-inch glazing and thermally broken panel. White aluminum would be specified because this way it wouldn't be a maintenance issue. There would be no painting in the future, and these would all be gasketed with rubber or silicone gaskets. So there's no caulking or maintenance to be performed. Basically, I'm getting some pricing of between $1,200 and $1,500 a unit. It's roughly about $28,000 for the glass alone. We would have to do some more invasive work to the clear story frame to take off the aluminum and see how much damage there is to that frame, because it's been taking water on for a while. So, I think we're probably in the neck of the woods of $50,000 to $60,000, possibly a little bit more, to replace that clear story. So I wanted to come prepared with some kind of number for you to evaluate, and also to put in your budget if we're going to proceed with this work. I'm open for any questions or any kind of comments.
Ed, Mr. Polici, you said a question, going back to the HVAC issue. Did you say that we're going to address that separately now, this rerunning of that duct, and is that going to be now another added-on cost too?
The ductwork was always a problem. I think I didn't know where it was coming from until John got back to me and investigated further. It's coming from the basement. I think there are other ways to handle that. We could maybe do a rooftop unit and just puncture the clear story in one location instead of running 25 feet of duct. Just make a penetration and bring the duct inside and cover it with sheetrock or expose it or integrate it into that clear story. So that needs to be done. It cannot stay on the roof the way it is, because it is a trap for snow drifting, water infiltration, mold. It's smack up against the clear story. It's just a bad design. So we want to rectify that, and we want to improve it. So if we have to get a mechanical engineer involved, or a consultant involved, or a good air conditioning person to reroute that ductwork, we have to do it. Because it creates all sorts of havoc with the roofing warranties and with the manufacturer. They just don't want something like that breaching the water tightness or the integrity of this roof. So it was pointed out to me at least 2 months ago that this was a problematic issue. So it has to be addressed.
Alan, how much did we bond for this project?
Yeah, but also, I'm not so sure this repair or improvement fits within the existing ordinance, so we may have to, even if the money is there, we may have to redo the scope of the ordinance if it's acceptable as a capital project. I have to research the financing on this to see whether we have existing financing that can work with this, or whether it has to be operating or some other solution. I don't have an answer as to availability of funds at this point, except that, no, we don't have another $70,000, available. We don't even have the down payment money for an ordinance available in the capital improvement fund. That would have to come in November when we could transfer some monies. So there are a host of problems here that have to be looked at, from my side also, to make the arrangements to have the funds available to even go out to bid.
Do we have an existing ordinance to fund the HVAC at the library?
Yes, we do. We have, we appropriated, authorized money for that.
Not the maintenance, is the windows.
The windows.
Yeah, there's the
The
clear
windows.
story improvements. You know, yeah, the ductwork would fit underneath the HVAC, you know, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But, the windows and any framing on the clear story that has to be redone, that's another area.
Okay.
So I'll have to report back on that.
Vito.
Mr. Pooch, thank you for the report, and John too. All the conditions that you have described are all the pre-existing conditions. They were all there, they were all exposed. So why now? What is that brought the perfect storm together and we're getting this report from you at this time? I mean, I'm assuming your roof replacement drawings must be substantially complete, if not complete,
Yes.
and ready to go out to bid. So why are we getting the bad news at this time?
Well, it's a
This
good
was not a
question.
concealed condition.
Well, it was. Actually, what happened was my contract dealt with the roof, and that's what I focused on. When the roof drawings went out to the department heads, John and I reviewed it. Also, Rick Stevens was brought on because he's in charge of building maintenance. And, you know, when I originally was on the roof and I was up there with my roofing consultant, we talked about the terminations. We were going to terminate the flashing right underneath the windowsills. And that was sheet metal, and we were going to terminate there. So we did not go anything further than the windowsill. What happened when we met on the job site on August 14th, some more evasive studies were done, where we actually peeled off a vertical mullion of sheet metal, only to find that the original wood windows were there, and that the caulking joints have opened up, expanded because of the heat, and that it's a chronic problem. And I said, well, my job was really the roof. So he said, well, we really need to replace these windows. So I said, well, that's a different story now. And this is something that I was not told to address. So I said, you cannot replace these windows after a new roof goes down. It doesn't make any sense. This job would have been more if we had to replace the windows, even if it was noticed at the very beginning. I really did not think that those windows were in that bad of a condition. These were original windows. And if you look at the clear story and the sheet metal that was encased around it, it looked as if it was sound. But upon further investigation, there is a chronic leaking and safety issue with that glass, because the glass is not tempered, it is not laminated glass, it is not really energy efficient, so all these things came together.
I get it. I get all that. Thank you. But we need to replace the windows because it will give us a better roofing job?
Well, it goes
Put
hand in
aside the
hand.
thought that we have to replace the window. We need to replace the window because it'll be easier to terminate the roofing into some kind of a snap-on.
I see the problem being that you could replace the roof.
Right.
You can make the roof watertight. However, if you change those windows somewhere between now and when after the roof is installed, you're going to make a mess of that roof. It'll be very difficult to work on top. It wouldn't be practical to work on a brand-new roof. So the sequence is off. And that's really the problem here, that I find it more advisable to replace the clear-story roof, get that mess over and done with, then put the new roof on, because the new roof is a finished surface. So you don't want to void guarantees, you don't want scaffolding on it, you don't want workmen with tools and glass, and removing or doing demo on top of a new roof. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not. So I go back to my first question. Why are we replacing the window now, and now why wasn't that part of the original scope of work? I mean, what is it that now all of a sudden we have to replace the window? And just by looking at the pictures, I agree with you. We have to replace the window. This is not just a glazing job. This is a full window replacement job. So why weren't these issues brought out to your attention?
I
Is
don't
there
know.
an answer? I mean,
I really don't have a very good answer why it wasn't done. You know, I guess if anything, I could say that with all jobs, you could look further. The roof project or the roof replacement of the roof was the prime concern. I did not look into the clear story. At the time when I examined it, it looked like it was tight, but I did not do any invasive investigation, rip off flashings or details or aluminum enclosures to ascertain what was underneath there. I was caulked in. It looked to be fairly sound at the time, and my contract was to replace the roof, not replace the windows. So I did not really examine that fully. However, now that Buildings and Grounds comes back to me and says, listen, we have a problem without those windows. And I said, okay, show me why you would think you have a problem. And then upon removal, I'm seeing problems. And I'm seeing that if you were to, are the windows going to fall in right now? No. Could they last another year or two? Probably. If you want to Band-Aid them and, have them just stay in place. But eventually, when the windows are replaced, you're going to replace them over a brand new roof, which is crazy. So I think that's where we pulled the reins on the horse and say, hey, listen, if you're going to do this, you have to do it before we change the roof. It doesn't make sense.
Mr. Pulich, I'm going to back off because this is a road that I just don't want to go down, and I appreciate your answer. I'm glad this has come up now and not 2 years from now.
Right.
And in the interest of professional ethics and integrity, I'm just going to leave it at that, and let's just move on. Tell me about this ductwork. What is the purpose of this ductwork in your opinion?
The ductwork is approximately 25 feet in length. It feeds the atrium up at the high clear story. It feeds it with heat and cooling. So it is a external piece of ductwork that's sitting on the roof, and it penetrates the clear story, and it distributes air to the clear story, hot air and cold air. So now it breaches that parapet wall, but the clear story sits on that wall. So it is a concern for ponding water. Water gets behind it. It's a poor flashing detail. It lends itself to having drifting snow accumulate on it, and also leaning, that drifting snow will lean on the glass and permeate that flashing and that sheet metal. So it is a chronic issue. And we like to get that
Peter, just a follow-up question to that. Is it necessary? I mean, that ductwork probably relates to the original building prior to the expansion. Is it necessary to provide heat and air conditioning from that location? You know, if you eliminate it, you don't have that ductwork, you don't have that problem. You may need to introduce ductwork somewhere else in the building to cover that particular area, square footage below the clear story, but is it necessary to introduce it from the top down?
I don't think it's, it would make it a little bit better, just for air changing and keeping that clear story cooler, because what happens is that clear story will, all the heat will rise and kind of like build in that clear story. So it would be advisable to get some kind of airflow in there just to push the air around.
With an electric fan that pushes it
Possibly we
down,
could put,
substitute for
yeah,
that.
possibly we could put an exhaust fan that with a thermostat control that once the heat got built up into that clear story, it might relieve it and depressurize it. But something has to be done mechanically there. So I'm optimistic that with the change of windows to a more efficient glazing unit, it might cool it down a little bit. 'Cause right now you have, very low-tech glass up there.
Councilman Capola?
Question. So I understand what you're saying, the clear story ideally should be replaced while the roofing's being done. But let's just say if the clear story was fine, the windows were fine, and they had another 5 to 10 years on them, which they don't, but let's just say they did, you would still have to repair them anyways on a new roof. So what's the big deal to let it go now and we do the roof? And because it would have to be done no matter what eventually, because that's just the situation. So what, 1 year, 2 year, 10 year?
Yeah.
So I don't.
Well,
what say you?
I would strongly do them now because I did not realize how bad they were until we got in there. I don't think it was my responsibility to be invasive and look at all parts of this building. There are other ills to this building. I could have, looked at the masonry, tuck pointing, some water issues. We could have gone there, but we did not. I think once I went up on the roof with Rick and John and removed a section of these windows and saw some of the damage. This goes back probably 15, 20 years. And I think that at one time, these wooden windows were painted, maintained, and caulked. I think what happened somewhere after that point, someone was tired of painting and caulking and said, let's clad it with aluminum. And that's what they did. At this point, I think they would have to be changed within the next year or two. Because they're that bad. You could, literally, the wood is very soft.
So,
No, go ahead, Bill.
I wanted to continue my questioning. So with the windows, have you had the opportunity to examine one sash, a sample sash?
Yes.
So we have to replace the sash and obviously the glazing. Have you had the opportunity to examine the header of these windows or the sill?
The sill is primarily the item in need of repair. The headers look fine because they're up high. It's where they made the contact with the roof curb that's an issue. I think because of the clear story, there was a lot of snow drifting against that clear story. The clear story has a curb roughly about 14 inches of snow. And I think probably within the last few years, when we had these pretty big snowstorms, a lot of this snow just leaned up against it. Also, once we removed the aluminum, you saw the water markings, you saw the nails popping, you saw the wood being deteriorated. Could it be fixed? A quick fix? Yes. They could be fixed. But I think long-term, it's a source of problem. It's a long-term source. So it's just my philosophy, why do invasive construction, because there will be need of scaffolding, tools, workmen, on a roof that's not so delicate, but why would you want to subject that roof?
We don't.
Yeah.
My question precedes all this.
Yeah, I know. I
You've
know what you're
answered
saying.
it. So I just want to get off that, because then I start getting other ideas in my
Right,
head.
okay.
So just, it is what it is, okay? I accept that. So we're going to replace these windows, and you can't come up, if obviously we retain you to do these window replacement drawings. On that assumption, you can't come up with like the parallel commercial line where you use their standard units and you pick up the difference at the ends. So the corners get wider.
Unfortunately, the way the clear story is, the way it's designed, is that the structural loads come down with posting in between. The way it's framed is that the clear stories themselves are horizontal units,
Mhm.
and in between the horizontal
Yeah,
units,
buntings.
there's posting. There's large mullions, structural mullions that come down to distribute the load on steel columns and steel beams below. So it's framed opening. I really don't want to shift that load or reconfigure.
And those mullions will remain.
Those structural mullions will have to remain.
We don't have rust, or at least none that could be seen.
No,
Okay,
we didn't
so-
see any.
So you're proposing a system, a Cornier Trifac
Correct.
451 with a 1-inch insulated glass, and some other bells and whistles.
Correct.
Okay, maybe then, even if we have to consult with a mechanical engineer, although I think we could work that out, the issues of the hot air buildup could be taken care of by a thermostat
I
activated
think so.
exhaust fan.
I think
We're
so.
done. So we get rid of the hot air.
Right.
It's there. We don't have to put fans. We don't have to do
Right.
anything.
We don't really need cooling up there because we're not cooling anything. We're just cooling.
Okay,
hot
so
air.
by resolving one problem and maybe approaching it this way, we may be doing away with the need for the ductwork.
Correct.
Then we clean everything up. Maybe curb height, we're stuck to the 14-inch, or do you think you want to raise it?
We are stuck with
We're
it.
stuck.
But what I would do is I would flash down. When the new windows come in, I would put flashing from underneath the windowsills down the curb wall, and then flash up to
Yeah,
it.
flashing and counter-flashing, and maybe we'll land in a metal termination bar, a continuous bar.
Correct.
So
And
then we're
sealed.
good.
Then we're done, and we can walk away, and that whole building envelope is done properly. So, it's unfortunate, but I think it is the proper thing to do. Again, it is hindsight. I wish we would have known some of these other intrinsic failures of this building earlier. It would have helped it, but still, it wasn't in the budget, but, I want to do it right. I want to walk away from this project
No question.
advising the mayor and council that I did the right job, or at least pointed out these things that have come up.
That's fine. We thank you, and we really don't want to do the Band-Aid solutions, even if we have to wait.
Yeah, it's not a building to do a
I
Band-Aid.
would not, but, so now that we're introducing a new trade. Before it was just a roof.
Correct.
We bring in the
Correct.
trade and you
It's more
trade.
complicated.
So are we doing this now GC? Or still you think we could swing it with multiple primes?
I think we could probably do it with 2 prime contractors, a window contractor and a roofing contractor to work
Unison.
in unison. I think that would be the cheapest and more cost-effective way of doing it. Than allowing a GC only to kind of supervise the work, make 15 or 20%, and have two subcontractors on the job. So I would rather do this as a window contract and a roofing contract with coordination in between. And if I have to do that interface, I will do it.
I would like to take that road, because I think it's still simple enough and the scope of work is well defined.
It is.
By removing the ductwork, do we still have there's still an issue with replacing the HVAC?
Those 2 units feed other offices, those ground units, correct?
It feeds the clear story and some of the office area.
Yeah. Those ground units, the 2 ground units, I think they're what, 1.5 tons or 2 tons apiece?
They're 2 tons.
They're
A
2
split
ton units.
system, 2 split?
2 split units. They feed not only the clear story, but auxiliary offices in the library themselves. So
Right.
they're going to be needed.
Yeah, but they're functioning now. We're going to eliminate the ductwork that goes up to the clear store, right?
Correct.
Okay. So there's no great urgency if we eliminate the ductwork, there's no great urgency to do that before
Correct.
the windows and the framing and the new roof go on.
Correct. We could just eliminate it and cap it.
We eliminated a headache, because now those split systems are dedicated to the offices. For one thing, they'll have more CFM to pump into the offices if we succeed in not feeding anything into the clear story. So that may also prolong the life of the split system, and eventually when they need to be replaced, it'll be a lot easier to do that too.
All right, so it looks like Alan has to research the availability of funds for this unexpected work that needs to be done before the roof gets put on. Whether we can take that from the existing HVAC ordinance or from a new capital ordinance, Alan will report to us on that. John, have any comments? Are you on the same page with Mr. Police yet?
Yeah, actually I put Peter in a bad spot because the more we looked into the drawings of the roof replacement, one item led to another. And the more we looked into the HVAC and replacing that system in its antiquated system, and Peter's suggestions with moving the ductwork on the roof, it all started tying in. So I suggested we take it over a very broad look at the whole project, rather than just the roof in general.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Ed?
Yeah, actually it has nothing to do with that. I know in one of your previous memos, I know Mr. O'Connor had some big concerns about how this project is going to be implemented and the phasing and everything. So I think in terms of, now that we've had some more time, that we need to give a little more thought into the phasing and how he's going to be able to operate and keep his operations and try to keep him as happy as we can keep him, knowing that this is major construction going on over there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your hindsight on that, because we had to work intensely with Shade Tree Commission because there's concern. There's the 9/11 Memorial Garden. There's a lot of trees against the building. We're trying to work diligently with all these committees and the library for logistics, because we have to take debris in the far corner of the building. We have to use a staging area. The library doesn't want us to take too many parking spaces away. We're also using the former VFW hall as a possible staging area. So we're trying to work with everyone involved with this project to do something that is workable. I don't want to put all these restrictions on contractors, or else we'll have no bidders. There's so many restrictions on this project with, trees and protection. Not that I don't respect the trees, I do, but we have to make it tolerable with noise, because, noise is a big issue with demolition, and I told the library director that there will be some noise. But roofers usually start 7:30 in the morning, the library doesn't open until 10 o'clock. I could probably have the roofers do all the noisy work in the morning and kind of taper off in the afternoon. So there's a lot of logistics that we're trying to hammer out and trying to be respectful of the people. But we must get this job done. When it gets done, it'll get done, and it has to get done properly. But I don't want to scare away any bidders.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding the capital list? Okay, next item of unfinished business is Grove Street, parking. I think we have two issues we're working on with Grove Street. One is we need to get a survey of Mr. Grasso's property for the legal description of an easement. So Alan, if you could ask our engineer to take care of that. And I know we already have a plan for it. We have the ordinance in place to allow for the parking, so that's all done. I know we need to work on signage, so again, maybe Alan, if you could work on the signage. As soon as we get Mr. Grasso to review and to approve the form of the easement, then we can begin striping and letting and opening it up for public parking. Any other questions on Grove Street? All right, bus shelters.
Mayor, the pads have been extended, the retaining walls have been completed. I believe the concrete has to cure, though, after for several weeks. I did write the contractor, or emailed the contractor on August 20th, asking for a timeline as to when they'll be installed. They said they would get back to me, but at least they know we're still interested in finishing up the project as soon as possible. So we'll keep tabs on that and try and have a report for you the next meeting.
Good. Yes.
Can I make a comment?
Sure. On the bus shelters, right?
On the bus shelter, Alan, concrete reaches the highest strength after 7 days. Then the curve kind of dips down and it stabilizes itself after 28 days. So don't let them throw us a fastball on the outside part of the plate and hope we swing at it. It's not going to fly, not now.
Okay, thank you.
7 days after you pour, that's the maximum strength of the concrete.
Okay, all right, good.
Thank you for that. We'll get back to that.
The Borough Hall HVAC. Everybody's seen the memo. I think we have now postponed the project until the spring because of logistics. Because there's more logistics in the Borough Hall HVAC than you could ever imagine.
At the library.
The library.
And the library.
Trying to get the library.
It's almost like...
Lightning detection system, River Edge Board of Education. I was contacted by Dr. Bendov. She indicated to me that the library, that the school district has the money appropriated to purchase the equipment for their properties, for the Cherry Hill property and the Roosevelt School property. She indicated to me that she requests that the borough waive the Board of Education's share, pro rata share of the transmitter. She indicated to me that in Oradell, the borough waived the Riverdale's portion of the transmitter. So, the pro rata share of the transmitter to the River Edge Board of Education would be, they have 2 locations. I think it's 2 out of maybe 14 different locations. It's about 12? Yeah. It's about one-sixth of the transmitter cost. It's roughly $3,000 or $4,000 that they wish us to waive of money that we've already spent, and the other entities have all agreed to prorate the cost of the system. So I'm only here delivering the message. It's for.
Do I have the opportunity to verify that claim that the Borough of Oradell waived the fee to Riverdale and therefore we should follow?
Yeah.
If A is equal to C and B is equal to C and A is equal to B?
If somebody wants to put the motion on and there's a second, there'll be a formal resolution on the future agenda and you'll have time to verify it.
It's a phone call.
Well, whatever.
I could imagine that Oradell would waive the fee for the Oradell Public School. I certainly can't imagine them ever waiving anything for Riverdale.
There's no lost love.
But certainly for maybe the Oradell Public School waived it for the Oradell, or they Oradell waived it for their own public school.
Well, they waived it for the middle school.
For the middle school?
Middle school is Riverdale.
I can't imagine. I mean, they charge them for their water usage, right? So I can't imagine.
You could check with Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Bonfiglio, but they were here at our meeting when we had the lightning detection system meeting, and they indicated to us that they were already hooked up to the Oradell system and they wanted to transfer to the River Edge system. And I indicated to them that if they transferred, there would be a cost associated with that because they would have to contribute a pro rata share to our transmitter. And they indicated to me at that meeting that they didn't pay any pro rata share to the borough of Oradell. So they would rather just stay with Oradell. But you can confirm that.
No, I will, because the grand design was to shift the middle school to where it belongs.
That wasn't my grand design, maybe your grand design.
The reasonable design, okay, so it's not mine or yours or his or nobody's.
Right.
Common sense, like we didn't use it in that other instance. Common sense says you want to shift the middle school to the River Edge system.
Al?
Just a point of clarification, if you do end up waiving this share, does it increase the pro rata shares of everyone, or does River Edge absorb the River Edge Board of Education and the other participants' shares stay the same?
No, the other participants' shares stay the same.
Thank you.
And those other participants are okay with that?
But they're okay with their share staying the same, not being raised.
It's our money. But what's the difference?
It's coming from the same pool of people.
Take it from here and...
I mean, with the school budget, they don't have a capital fund per se.
Right.
It all has to come from their operating. So I would make the motion to absorb the share for River Edge schools only.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
With the pro rata share, we have a second. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. I will inform Dr. Bendov. All right, any new business? No. Are we doing a formal reading of the payment of the bills this evening?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon, 1307?
Go ahead. You're up.
Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee, now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $344,228.23. Capital account, $2,047.83. Recreation account, $31,706.10. Animal welfare account, $19.80. Trust other account, $8,064.95. Trust other developers account, $3,210.83. Open space account, $1,974.22. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to open the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the meeting is open to the public. If any member of the public wishes to make a statement, ask a question, just give us your name and address. Mary Donahue.
Mary Donahue, 542 Fifth Avenue. We'd like to address you.
Come on up. Come on up.
Well, first of all, we'd like to thank you, the mayor and council, for your cooperation with the wine festival. It was a roaring success. It was very orderly. Thankfully, there were no injuries. The police department was superb. It was a spectacular event, and we thank you very much. And also, Mayor, for your participation in the contest.
Thank you,
That was
thank you.
The icing on the cake. Now, the reason why we're here today is because we read in the newspaper that PSE&G is planning to put lines underground. And while we are in 100% as citizens of River Edge in agreement that the lines should go underground, because we remember the inconveniences that we had with the storms, we are still concerned about where this work is going to be done and whether it will affect us at the site of Newbridge Landing, where PSE&G has a substation. Now, when the Newbridge Landing Commission was established in 1995, we had several goals for the commission. One, we wanted to change the name of the train station because we felt that it should be historic Newbridge Landing. There's no such place as North Hackensack. I don't know who the mayor of North Hackensack is. And secondly, we wanted to acquire the Bergenfield Auto Parts. Mission accomplished. Through federal funding, we acquired it, and we have been using it, and we've enjoyed its use. Third, we changed the name of the post office to Historic Newbridge Landing, and that was another great accomplishment because we want that historic area at the bottom of River Edge, at the southern end of River Edge, to be acknowledged as the historic site that it is. It is a place where the American Revolution got its start, literally. And we anticipate that if our plans work out, that we will have a little mini Williamsburg down there in the southern end of River Edge that will be an economic engine for our town. For example, we think that about 1,600 people walked through our area last weekend.
Wow, 1,600?
Imagine if we had made the, if the restaurants in town were aware that this event was going to be so great, how people could have benefited the town. There were many, many opportunities that we saw there that could benefit River Edge. Now, the problem with the PSE&G station down there is, first of all, it's a very forbidding site when you approach the historic site. In 2 languages, they tell you that there's high voltage and danger, and that's not a very welcoming thing for school kids to see. And secondly, that area is very historic. We would like, our dream in the commission is to have that substation removed and have that that riverfront restored to the way it was in the 17th, 18th century. And we don't know what PSE&G's plans are. We're not against their plans. We think that their plans are good. But we would like to have the assurance that the historic site will be honored and will be respected. And that, for example, you don't build a big rampart around the place. Or if you have been down to Palisades Avenue in Teaneck to see, you know, the big Frankenpine that's on Route 4? You should see what that has become. Instead of being this fake pine hiding the electrical power, if you go down to Palisades Avenue, it is a huge substation. I mean huge. It's easily 4 or 5 times the size of the one at Newbridge Landing. So we want you as the council to be aware that while it is good that PSE&G is making this plan to improve our lives in River Edge, that we don't diminish the possibility that we have down there of creating this national site that we envision. Kevin, what do you have to add?
I would point out that, again, to thank you for, that wouldn't have been possible down there. Their counters are still counting, but I think we made for the museum fund about $28,000.
Wow.
So I just want to emphasize that the Bergen County Historical Society has found a home in River Edge since 1939. So we're one of the oldest businesses in town. We've spent probably the last 20 years, and I've spoken, here before, simply trying to take the basket off of this candle and to reveal to people that, this place survived more of the American Revolution than any other spot in America. So we have a Revolutionary War battleground in our midst, and rebranding, which has been very successful for us. When my kids went to Cherry Hill School, there was no Newbridge Center, so as old as the concept of Newbridge is, it certainly has been, our effort since 1984 to revive this historic name, not only for our purposes, to reconnect the events of the American Revolution with, with the spot where they happened, but I think more importantly, I know some years ago I listened to Antoine Nelson, the man who laid out a wonderful plan, urban planner for the redevelopment area in South River Edge, and I think he had the vision of seeing this as, I remember his remark was, paraphrasing, was that any town would die to have a cultural space or a green at the center of a redevelopment of this nature. So I think this is something, even in rebranding the train station, that benefits all of us. I do want to point out that the success that we're having, this event was staffed by 49 volunteers. The Bergen County Historical Society does not apply for and does not accept a single cent in public funding. Everything you see going on down there is raised by membership dues and contributions. We're not, looking for handouts. We've never come for public money. And but I do want to announce, because I think it's a great achievement in the last state budget, through personal negotiations between Senator Weinberg and Governor Christie, the commission has finally gotten $100,000 with which we can now employ somebody to open up the Steuben House again to the public. So once more, after a hiatus of 6 years, this, and I would point out that up until 2007, I don't think people appreciate this fully, the Steuben House was the most visited state historic site in New Jersey, with over 20,000 visitors a year. So, this is an economic engine. I think the vision has been shared, and I think that's its success. It's not my vision, it's not Mary's vision, it's hopefully all of our visions. That was the purpose of the commission. The success has been phenomenal enough that I would say in the last 5 years, the membership of the Bergen County Historical Society has grown from approximately 350 members to over 1,300. So while other historical groups are actually shrinking, we're growing, and our home is here in River Edge. So there's a number of things that that we'll obviously have to come talk with you in terms of this museum. We're building in a delicate spot, and we realize that, and this will be an elevated building so that we're not building in the floodplain. But the PSE&G, I'm sure that I want to point out, first of all, these have been good neighbors to us. So we're not here to complain about them in any way, shape, or form.
They have been sponsors of our events.
Most significantly, in 1977, they actually acquired, when they built the substation there, almost the entire river landing, and donated the portion they did not use for the substation to the Bergen County Historical Society. So that's why the river landing itself is protected. So this is by no means any complaint, against them. But I'm sure that I've been a resident of River Edge now for 32 years, and I'm sure you understood in the last 3 storms the impact of the flooding on those substations. We all sort of lived in 18th century conditions for a week or 2 each time. Even in relocating it, which the commission granted without any red tape or fees or charges, we allowed them to set up a temporary substation on the old Pizza Town property, which belongs to the state, the commission, and that still was not sufficient, to protect it. So we all know why, given land values, 30 years ago, they purchased a piece of property down on the dead end of a street, but it is at the intersection of 2 major brooks, not only the Hackensack River, but Coles Brook, which comes down out of Ensong Park and out of Maywood and Hackensack. So this is just not the location, for a facility of this type. And while we would never suggest that this, could be or should be remediated or removed in the short term, I think it's like the Bergenfield Auto Parts property or Pizza Town. 15 years ago, somebody had said to us that we would have a meadow where the auto salvage yard was. Again, a good neighbor and a good business. I would have thought it was impossible, but here we are. So I think if we think long range and think of, the substation actually sits in the mill pond of the original Zabriskie Mill, and so its removal would greatly help, I think, the water situation down there, and there's a number of other things. So, but again, I wanted to thank you, and I just wanted to point out that this is a long-term vision that we hope you don't mind us coming here to talk about these things, because unless it's shared, unless it's your vision too, this is not going to happen. And again, we're very proud to call River Edge the home of this organization, and the county's only county-wide historic society, 111 years old this year. So very proud to be here, and again, thank you very much for your...
So we just ask you to be vigilant and to be protective of the site and to be aware of the terrible implications that would happen if that facility were to be expanded or made even more forbidding.
Well, just 1 minute, Ed. I think this council has a good relationship with the Newbridge Landing Commission and the Historical Society, and I certainly share your vision, Mary and Kevin.
We know that you do.
You have my word that if that I'm on the same page as the commission, because I want to use that historic property so that we could bring commerce and tourism and education to tourists and to the residents and to students, and use the property to its full potential. And if you ever hear of any, I've been trying to find out from PSA&G exactly what the plan is, but they're not really giving us any details. They just say that they have $3.9 billion that they're going to use to harden the infrastructure. But when I asked them, what are you going to do? How are you going to fix the New Milford substation? Are you going to build a wall around it? Or are you going to lift it up? They're lacking in details.
Well, this is why we're here, because the report that I saw in the paper gave no indication of what was going to happen, and we just wanted to come to ask you to be very vigilant and protective of that site, because it is a very important site for River Edge.
It is. So if we hear of any hearings before the Board of Public Utilities as to exactly what they're going to do, we will let you know. And if you hear of any as their neighbor, and you're certainly within 200 feet, if they notify you of any hearings before the Board of Public Utilities where they're going to unveil their plan, let us know so that a member of the council or I can attend those meetings. I know that when we had the hurricane, PSA&G called me about where they should put the temporary substation. Should they put it back in the Pizza Town lot? And I said, no, don't put it there, because we had to rescue you guys from that temporary substation the last time. So we had it moved over to Kinderkamak and Grand Avenue, where they put it in, and it was fine. It never, the high water mark never even reached it. But my door is always open, and you have my contact information, and thank you for letting me work with you on the wine festival. I hope it's one of many, because the more festivals we have, the more money you could raise. The sooner you could build the museum and the visitor center, and then we can get rid of the porta potties every time we have an affair, and you can have a.
We're going to put River Edge back on the map.
You can have a souvenir shop, and you can have classes, and it would just be a great thing. A great thing. It would be a real economic engine.
To show you the potential, this came to my wife, Deborah, in the background there. We actually were asked to host one of the Super Bowl parties, special parties. And unfortunately, this is exactly the kind of thing, that they're looking for, this sort of unique cultural destination. But neither we nor the restaurants immediately in the area could actually accommodate 200 people. They're now, I think, looking in Riverside Mall so that there can still be a connection. But we shouldn't, potential is there, the recognition is there. This is, I think, it's not simply, as I said before, this isn't about nostalgia. This is a valuable cultural asset and attraction. And if we work together as we are working together, we can.
I think we have to find a common ground, because I know that as historians, you're very careful as to the protection of the property. It's sacred ground, it's hallowed ground. Blood was spilled there. You don't want anybody to break any treasured artifacts or anything like that. But on the other side, if we have these festivals and you had plenty of volunteers and everybody
Had a good time.
everybody had a good time and everybody was safe and everybody enjoyed themselves and you made some money for a good cause, and I have plenty of ideas for festivals. We could have a green festival, next week in Cresco they're having a barbecue cook-off festival where they have these professional barbecue guys that bring their big rigs in and
Food channel,
and
BBQ master.
yeah,
Grill master?
BBQ master.
I mean, you can have things like that there and attract a lot of people, and it would still be safe, and you'd keep all the artifacts from getting broken, and you can make a couple of bucks for the museum. That's what I like to
Our
see.
structural issues, not to belabor this, we're not, I mean, we are purists in the sense of the history. We like to be accurate, and we like to show that story to people, but you have to remember that, I mean, I've been working in this business for 40-some years now, and it's not that you're selling an illusion to people, but when you're talking about phone wires and, you know what I mean, the comment which is at the head of our website about the wine festival, a comment that I think Deborah recorded, right? Two women who were there before. Most of the crowd had never been there, the crowd we had yesterday, which is, you're exactly right about doing activities that attract, new people. But the two of them said, these two girls said to the admissions people, "Oh, I thought I was on a farm in upstate New York." A quarter of a mile from Route 4 and 7 miles from the George Washington Bridge. I mean, to have this for all the reasons it survived in its condition. So in terms of using it, we want to bring people there. We want to bring new audiences there. In terms of maintaining its historic integrity, in terms of the roadways and the buildings and the lawns, you can see that doesn't lock us into one period, because we had a wonderful vintage baseball game. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do down there, and
we're also very careful and very responsible about the people that we're attracting. While we were having our preparation meetings, our planning meetings, we were concerned about broken glass. Do you know how many glasses were broken? 1. I think that's great.
Next year, there won't be any broken glass, because everybody will have their little sling, their little wine glass
But
sling.
this was one of our big concerns, that the children or anybody who was there would be hurt with broken glass. 1 glass was broken.
And it was a great souvenir, because it had the etching on it of the festival and everything.
All right, well, thank you.
I want to, Deborah didn't speak, but I want to thank Deborah for all the communication back and forth over the weeks that we were planning, that you let me help plan the event. Anybody? Ed?
So, just wanted to follow up on something you had said, Mayor, because it was my concern also. When PSE&G announced they were going to do this work down there, they actually came to us and asked for this council to endorse their project, and the Mayor was alluding to this. And we asked them, well, we need to know what we're endorsing, and they said they didn't have a project for us. I'm saying now maybe it's several months after the fact, maybe Alan or the Mayor can write a letter to them saying, now we have more opportunity to look, we want to know what you're doing over there, because they're not required to come to the planning board. So we're not going to get plans and details as to what they're doing. We can certainly ask them to come and do a courtesy presentation to the planning board, maybe through Mr. Sarl or through the Mayor, but I think that the time is now where we should ask them what they're planning, because they probably are talking about either berming it or something like that to harden it, and I would think that would be what their main objective would be.
Just the way that we would notify you if we hear anything, we would be very grateful if there were a meeting, if we would be invited also, because it affects us very, very much.
PSE&G has asked me 7 times if I would help them in adopting a resolution by the council in support of their infrastructure improvements. And all 7 times I've said, just show me the plan. Just show me the plans. And they don't have one to show me. But they're collecting resolutions from town after town after town, packaging them up, and they're going to dump them on the Board of Public Utilities and get their approval. unless someone's there to put the brakes on.
Well, Senator Weinberg and Senator Cardinale would be wonderful allies, and Senator Gordon also. It would be wonderful allies if we ever need anything like that from public utilities.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, and if I may just say one more word.
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Before, does the commission have a site plan of the property that delineates the extent of wetlands on the property?
Yes.
So you'll know already how much cannot be built on.
That's correct. You have
Where does
two-
that transformer fall?
Pardon?
The transformer site, where does that fall? Wetland or non-wetland?
Well, the transformer site is, for us, is the same problem as it is for you in that the commission is established by state law. So it is, a state governmental agency exercising state governmental functions. But whether or not it has jurisdiction over a public utility, a substation, is again an unresolved question. In terms of wetland surveys, you have two property owners in River Edge under the commission. The Bergen County Historical Society, people hear the name of the society and they think it's a county agency or a government agency. It's a private, non-profit foundation. We bought the land there in 1944. And the rest of the land on either side of us is owned by the state of New Jersey.
Okay.
So our plans are within the jurisdictional boundaries established by the law itself, and it's open to debate or perhaps to a legal resolution as to whether we have some authority over, over at least the right to hear, what is, they plan.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and all we ask is that you're vigilant and protected.
And thanks again, the EMTs, the police department, all of you folks. We couldn't have done this without you, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would still ask that we would reach back out to Dave Hollenbeck, because in May, his last correspondence to us was that he was hoping to do this project in the fall, which was in May. So they must have more detailed plans at this point, so.
Okay, I'll reach out to him. Anybody else member of the public would like to speak? Can I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Nothing on closed session. Any council comments?
No. I just...
No.
Just real quick, a mother came up to me about a crossing guard on Midland and Kinnickinnick by Dunkin' Donuts. She asked me to bring it up to mayor and council, so I'm just throwing it out there. I know there's not a crossing guard there, but I don't know if there's anything we can do about looking into that, or I can look into that, because it's a very busy intersection with Dunkin' Donuts there, and she was just worried about someone getting hit or whatnot. A lot of kids congregate there after school, and it is a treacherous crossing.
Midland and Kinnickinnick?
Yeah, right by the bagel place and Taste of Grease and the Dunkin' Donuts.
Even with the traffic light, she still thinks it's dangerous?
Yeah.
I'm just reporting what she but that's all.
All right. Any other comments? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have some special meeting. Good night.
Come on, all the public's leaving. They don't want to be for a public hearing.
Yeah, open it up. All right.
This will be a quick public hearing.
Can I have a roll call, please, on the special meeting?
Councilwoman Bertzi, Councilman Eccleston.
Present.
Councilman Coppola.
Here.
Councilman Leon.
Here.
Councilman Bartoloni.
Here.
Councilman Cavallaro.
Here.
Mayor Montezuma.
Present. All right, can I have a motion to open the hearing to the public on the open space preservation trust fund?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The hearing is open to the public. Do we have any members of the public who wish to comment on the Open Space Recreation Farmland Historic Preservation Trust Fund? Can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we've held a public hearing. Can I have a motion to adjourn this special meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, thank you.
Quick, Betty White to jump out of it.
Yeah, that might be the quickest meeting ever.